But look, so you look at both of those teams. Both of them get surprising losses in the first round. Obviously, last year we know what the Eagles did. The Cowboys, they even won a playoff game last year against those same Buccaneers. I got to be honest, man. McCarthy's 12-5 in the last 3 years, and he's gotten ousted twice in the first round, and like I said, last year was in the second round. But overall, I think in the 12 playoff appearances, he's been, I think, first round, he's been knocked out 5 times in the first round. He's only made 1 Super Bowl, and that was 13 years ago with Aaron Rodgers. And then, we know about the defense, Dan Quinn. We praised him all year. I mean, did they even have a fire sale in Dallas?
Well, I mean, they've already announced today that they're bringing back McCarthy, which I don't think that's a good idea. I mean, you brought this guy in here to get you to take care of Dak, make him better. He's done it in the regular season, but it's not happening in the postseason. And when McCarthy left Green Bay, nobody shed a tear in Green Bay. They were thankful for what he brought them. He got him to a Super Bowl, that type of stuff. But his act had grown tired, and they were ready for him to leave. And now he's not having the postseason success in Dallas. Man, with that roster they've got and their window of time, I'd be sitting there saying I would not be happy with this decision. I would be saying we need to go find something else to someone else to be leading us because. Yeah, so I mean, they can continue to have regular season success, but you just kind of look at. I mean, this is who he is. This is what he does with your franchise.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and with Dan Quinn as well. You talk about that defense and how everything has worked with that. 48, he gave up 48 to Jordan Love. So talk to me about that because that surprised me.
It very much so because. At first I kind of dismissed it a little bit. And it's sort of like, well, it's the NFL, it's the playoffs. I mean, it's an offensive league. Like anybody anybody's defense can get beat by an offense the way these rules are set up. But to give up close to 50 points, to have the type of performance that you did, that's really, really concerning. And all this talk about Dan Quinn's defense and what he's done for Dallas, and you and me have said, well, Dan Quinn's the reason for all their success, and then they do that. I don't know. That's you kind of mentioned there's a blueprint out there to run on Dallas, but I'm glad these aren't the decisions we have to be making.
Right now, let's flip it over to the Eagles. Sirianni. Should we be concerned about him? Is he on his way out?
So he hasn't had his meeting with the owner yet, but the general manager, Howie Roseman, and Sirianni did meet today to come up with the game plan for the assistant coaches. They clearly had an issue on defense at the fact that they had to fire Sean Desai during the season. They promoted Matt Patricia to take over as play callers. I mean, that the writing was on the wall in Philly that there was issues on the defense. But then Brian Johnson, who took over as offensive coordinator, man loves his screen passes. Things didn't go so well. They have good stats. Jalen still had some still good stats, but obviously the last part of the seasons and the playoffs, something ain't meshing very well. So that part makes sense. If you're going to keep Sirianni, he's got to bring in some new coordinators. Now, I'm not a Nick Sirianni fan. I think he's a punk. You see him on the sideline like that. So I would love to see him get fired. But at the same time, if he's not this leader, offensive, wizard that we thought he was, stay in Philly. If you can't handle your locker room, stay in Philly. I'm good with that. Yeah.
Go right ahead. Honestly, it's just you see what happened last year. You see all the success they had, and you're kind of like, wow, look what he's built. Look what the owners, look at how they brought this team together. And then it just looked like through 11 weeks, they're picking up where they left off. And all of a sudden, it was like, wait a minute. What just happened here? Everything just kind of fell. And I think you got to point the finger at the head coach. I mean, we know how they've brought back-to-back national championship defenses in from Georgia. We know that the trade for A.J. Brown, bring him in, which, they might regret it in hindsight, but still, he was the reason you got to the Super Bowl. He was one of the reasons that you were leading in the Super Bowl. So honestly, I don't know. I've talked to people and they said, nah, he's not, as long as he can take you to a Super Bowl and, back-to-back playoffs, yada, yada, yada. But at the same time, man, this kind of collapse, and like you said, I know you had all different coordinators and whatnot, but the talent's still there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, in
It's
some of these
concerning.
games, like the Jets game, it is.
Yeah, no, I would. The epic collapse like that, I would have to be wondering what is happening in that locker room. Heck yeah, they miss BDN.
They haven't been able to do anything since he left, man.
Uh-huh.
Oh, there we go.